And I'm a 7th grade cadet, and I'm doing the step 4 of the new Cuisines badge, which is make something from the past. So I have a Laura Ingalls Wilder cookbook, so I'm going to do something from that. So I'm making heart-shaped cakes. So these are little like cookies in the shape of a heart, but you could do them in other shapes as well. So our ingredients are flour, sugar, baking soda, buttermilk, but if you don't have buttermilk, you can put regular milk with a little bit of lemon in it, and that will make buttermilk, butter, and ground nutmeg. So first, I'm going to show you how to make buttermilk. If you already have the buttermilk, which you only need 1/3 of a cup, then you can just skip this step. So take 1/3 of a cup of any kind of milk, and you could put it in a liquid measuring cup or a bowl or anything like that. And then you're going to take a lemon and cut it in half. And you're going to squeeze half of the juice in, so 1/2 of it. And you squeeze it into there. And then you can mix it up. And then this needs to go into the fridge for 15 minutes. So the next step is to preheat the oven to 425. And then you're going to start mixing together the flour, the sugar, the baking soda, and nutmeg. So you're going to take a big bowl. You're going to take the flour first. And we're going to put in 1.5 cups of flour. One. And 1/2. And then you're going to add in the sugar. For the sugar, you need 1/3 a cup of sugar. But at the end, you can also have a little bit more to put on top of the little cookies. Then you take 1/3 a cup of the sugar. We're using white sugar. Do the baking soda. For baking soda, we need 1/2 teaspoon. And finally, we need to do the nutmeg. So for the nutmeg, you just need a small pinch. So you barely need any. Just take a small pinch, just add it in. Then you're going to mix that all together. So the next step, we're going to add our butter in. When Laura Ingalls Wilder was alive, they would have used lard, which is fat, but we're going to use butter. You need 1/4 cup of butter, sliced or not sliced, it's your choice, and have it cold. And you're going to take it and put it into your dry ingredients. And then you're gonna mix it in until it looks like wet sand. You can either use your hands to mix, or you can use a pastry cutter, or you could use other things like that. Today we would have used a food processor, but since we're doing an old dish, we decided to use old things also. So this stuff is going to take a while because your butter's cold and it's going to take a while to mix it. I am teaching New Cuisines Step 3, which is whip up a dish from the past. New Cuisines is a badge about foods. Culinary possibilities are as diverse as the globe of people who cook them. Wherever you go in the world, a version of pocket bread holds something delicious, and your sweet tooth can be satisfied with everything from date syrup to lingonberry jam. In this badge, cook up 4 dishes from across time and distance and find out where your taste buds want to travel. The steps are: make a dish from another country, create a dish from another region of the United States, whip up a dish from another time period, and cook a dish that makes a statement, and share your dishes on a culinary tour. The purpose is, when I've earned this badge, I'll be able to make amazing dishes from all over the world and way back in time. Julia Child said, "This is my invariable advice to people. Learn how to cook, try new recipes, learn from your mistakes, be fearless, and above all, have fun." My troop wanted to do this badge because we like cooking and we wanted to learn more. I'm teaching you Step 3, which is whip up a dish from another time period. The choices are: try a recipe inspired by a historical book or movie, ask a grandparent or other relative for an old family recipe, or pick a piece of the past that excites you. I'm doing Step 1 because I'm inspired by Laura Ingalls Wilder to try a recipe from her. I like Laura Ingalls Wilder because they grew everything themselves and had their own food and made things with what they could, and I think that's really cool. Okay. So this is pretty much mixed in, and I'll show you what it looks like right now. It kind of looks like a wet, clumpy sand sort of texture. So this is what it should look like. If yours looks a little bit different or more clumpier, you can mix more. So now we're gonna add our buttermilk. If you made a homemade buttermilk with the lemon and milk, it should be sort of like a chunky texture, sort of like that. So we're gonna add in our 3rd cup of homemade or store-bought buttermilk. It doesn't matter which one. And then you're using your hand, you're going to mix the buttermilk in. So we want to keep mixing until it's into like a dough-like texture so that you can like roll it out. So it needs to kind of come together. And it is going to be kind of messy, but that's okay. So you can see it's starting to come together. It's not quite ready yet though. So it's starting to come into sort of a dough thing. But you want to make sure it's all coming together and then all incorporated. And you'll know when it's all mixed together when you try to roll it into a ball and it all comes together. So now this is what your dough should look like, just like normal dough. So for this step, we're going to take a little bit of flour. You can have a clean surface to put it on, either a cutting board or a clean counter, and spread it out. And then you're going to take your dough, which should be pretty much rolled into a ball. You're going to put it there. And we're going to roll this out into a circle. So make sure you have plenty of flour so it doesn't stick. And we want this rolled into a circle. Not too thick, but pretty good. And if you don't have enough flour in your rolling pin or the surface where you're doing this on, your dough will start to fold up, so just put a little bit more flour on your surface. Okay, so now you can see it's pretty much like a circle. So then we'll start cutting it out. So now you're going to take a knife, just a butter knife, and you're going to cut your dough in half. And then you're going to cut each half into thirds so that you have 6 equal pieces. And now we're ready to start shaping them. You're going to take each piece and roll it into a ball. And then you can start to flatten it and make it into a heart shape or a star shape or whatever. I'm going to make mine into hearts. You can see it looks like that. And continue to do that with all 6 pieces. As you're making these, if it's a little bit hard to shape them into hearts, you can use a cookie cutter, but Laura Ingalls Wilder would have probably made them by hand, just because of what they would have had. Laura Ingalls Wilder lived in the late 19th century on the Great Plains. She's famous for writing the Little House on the Prairie books. I love those books. These are what my hearts look like, but if yours look a little bit different, that's okay. Just make sure they're around the same thickness so that they cook properly. So now we're going to take butter and a small sheet pan, and we're going to grease the pan with butter. Make sure you grease it pretty well so that the cookies don't stick. So now you're going to take your 6 cakes and place them on the sheet pan and make sure they're not touching. It's okay if they have little space in between them because they won't get very much bigger. So now I have my 6 hearts on my sheet pan. So now you're going to take your sheet pan with your cake/cookies on it, and you're going to put it into the oven. And you're going to have it bake for 15 minutes or until they're like golden brown. So when our 15 minutes are up, we're going to take some oven mitts because it will be hot. And we're going to turn off the oven and take our cookies out. You can see what they look like. So while they're still warm, this is an optional step, but I'm going to do it. You can take a little bit of sugar, and for each one you can put it on top. This is like a little extra topping. And then you can take them and put them on a baking rack, or you can leave them in the pan to cool. So you can see this is what they look like. And if you break them open, see they look kind of like doughy. Let's take a bite. They're good. Have fun making these.